Hey y'all, I am going to do my makeup here for you today. I want to talk through the highlight and contour process with mascara products. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. It's not going to be a long video because this process isn't a long process. So to get started, I like to start with my Stay Spray. I use this as my face primer. And I use the SPF version because, well, I'm in Texas, so SPF is always necessary around these parts. So I just do 2 spritzes here, and then I just work it into the skin with a damp Perfector sponge. And this is the 3D Foundation Perfector sponge. I get it on my eyelids and everything, if I don't have my eye makeup on already. A lot of the times I already have my eye makeup on. That's fine. All right, so we are primed now and ready to get going. Perfect. All right, so to start, I have it's a HAC stack. So it holds 4 full-size singles. So what I like to keep in my HAC stack that I use every day is I have my 2 highlight colors. I am the shade Candlelit, and I use Moonlit to brighten under my eyes. I will sometimes use Linen as well, but Moonlit seems to work best for my skin tone. I have a cool skin tone, cool to neutral, and so that's why Candlelit is definitely the best for me. And then I have my contour here, and I'll be using the shade Ash, and I have our powder bronzer, that's Caymen. And then you open up to the second level here, and I have 2 blushes here. One is Hollywood, one is Desert Sunset. You'll see Desert Sunset has a glossy finish, so I like to use it on my lips. And then I've got our powder illuminator here, and this is in the shade Starlet, and then our vanilla dust setting powder. So my entire face is right here. So to get started, I'm going to hop in. I have all of the OG mascara foundation brushes, so I'm going to give you kind of a sampling of them. If you just wanted to start with one brush, I would suggest the 30-second HAC brush. It takes some getting used to, this pointy end here, and I'm going to show you how I use it. But if you want to start with something, I would say start here, and you're going to be able to get essentially your entire face with this one if you'd like, but I'm going to give you a sampling of all of them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in here, and I like to start with my highlight color first. So I'm going to come in here to Candlelit. I do not use a lot. I did 2 little dabs there. I'm going to go ahead and do down here at my jawline. I don't swipe when I'm placing my makeup on. I like to hold the brush at a slight angle so that I can just use a stippling motion to work it into my skin. Okay. Hi. My daughter has just come in the room. We might have a visitor. All right, so I get this bottom half here, and you can see how that just evens out my skin tone beautifully. Then we're going to continue 1 dab here, and I'm going to put it up under my eye. That 1 dab that I did was enough for the rest of this side of my face. You do not need a lot. I repeat, you do not need a lot. Whenever you're going under your eye, make sure that you are gentle. So I'm still doing my stippling motion, but I'm not being rough with it. That skin is so super delicate. And we are going to come back in with an extra brightener under our eyes as well. So you don't have to worry about getting it perfect down there. I keep the middle of my cheek area open because that's where we're going to be putting our contour on and our blush on. 1 dab. And that is going to get the entire other side. I have a lot of redness around my nose, so I always like to make sure that I get that nice and covered. And I also use this on my eyelids. This essentially serves as my eye primer as well. That's why I didn't do eyeshadow first. I wanted to show y'all that. A lot of times I'll just use an eyeshadow brush and do it that way. So you can see this beautiful coverage that I already have here. And we're not worrying about getting it all the way up here necessarily. The blending and the finishing and the perfecting comes at the end. So don't stress about it as you're putting it on. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna hop over into my brighter shade here. This is Moonlit, and I'm going to very lightly touch it. This is a very bright shade. One touch is gonna be all I use for both. So you can see how much brighter that is. You wouldn't wanna use just this one if you are more of a candlelit tone, because it's just going to highlight your shadows, if that makes sense. You want to cancel and then brighten. You don't want to jump in just right into brightening. So I'm going to pull that down. We want to just brighten up the center of our faces and under our eyes. And I'm bringing it to the inside of my eyes too. Don't neglect this area with your foundation. It makes a huge difference. And then whatever's left, I'm just dabbing up the middle, down my nose, and onto the chin. All right. So you can see what we're working with now. Then I'm going to go into my contour. I'm flipping this brush. Again, this is the 30-second hack, and I'm going to do my contour now with the same brush. So I'm just going to touch the contour. Now where we're gonna place our contour, this is where I think people get nervous because they're like, well, I don't know where to put my contour. It's not that complicated, guys. I think that a lot of us just overthink it. Find the top of your ear. Let me move my hair out of the way for you. Find the top of your ear, and that's about where you're gonna wanna start. That's where the bottom of your cheekbone is going to sit. And that's where you want to place your contour, is at the bottom of your cheekbone, not necessarily down here in the hollow of your cheek. That's going to drop your cheekbones. And the whole point of this is we want to raise your cheekbones. So if we wanted to start here, I'm going to start at the top of my ear. I'm pushing against my cheekbone. That whole time I was pushing into my cheekbone. So you can see what we have here, what we have started. We can make this ugly face doing it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the other side on, and then we can worry about blending, and I'll show y'all. I'm only gonna dab once on this side because I still have a little product left. I'm pushing up onto my cheekbone. See how pretty that is, guys? So then I'm going to go ahead and blend a little. I'm not worried too much about getting it perfectly blended right now either, because again, that will come in just a moment. We're just doing a rough blend, and we're always blending up. Always, always blend up. And then for where you want your contour to end, you want to go right about to your eyes, to the outside of your eyes. Don't bring it too far in, otherwise you give yourself like a 5 o'clock shadow, and nobody wants that. I'm going to come back into the same compact, dab once more, and then we're going to get the temples and around the forehead. I am always doing a stippling motion. I just like how that works the product into my skin. It's very, very natural. Okay, see that? And then I'm not big on nose contouring. I do like to add a little of dimension to my nose. I like a natural shadowed effect. So I didn't even add any more product. I'm just adding whatever was still on that brush is what I just put on my nose. And then we're gonna turn it over here. We're gonna brighten up down the center again. Gonna make sure we don't want the shadow here coming over the middle of the nose. Okay. Then if you wanted to clean up anywhere, like if you feel like, I want to bring that up a little bit, that's really easy too. You just use the same brush, guys. And you can just swipe it up, clean it up. It's cream product. So it does exactly what you want it to do, which is the really nice thing. I'm blending in that light, the highlight that I just put back on my nose to brighten that back up the middle. All right, so we have our contour. Now I'm gonna bring in a different brush and I'm gonna show you blush. So this is our B Squared bronzer blush. And I'm gonna hop in here to Hollywood. It's a really pretty pink with kind of some gold, I wouldn't say flecking, but some gold tones. Okay, so we have our blush. Now, what I'm gonna do, I like to put a little, whatever's left of my blush, I like to put it where the sun would naturally give me a little bit of flushing. What we're gonna do now to finish blending everything in and to get that really flawless finish that you see so much with mascara, is we're gonna use this Perfector sponge again, and I'm gonna pick back up my Stay Spray. I'm gonna spray the Stay Spray on my Perfector sponge. And then this is what I'm gonna use to do my blending all around my face. This is what I'm gonna do to blend out any kind of harsh lines that I have on my contour, my blush, every bit of it. This is also going to, I'm bouncing it off of my skin. So this is working the product into the skin. It's picking up any excess so that it won't fall into your fine lines around your eyes specifically is where I really focus a lot of this effort. So you can see now, everything looks very naturally blended and I am just naturally brightened down the middle. My contour doesn't look all scary anymore. That's everybody's fears that the contour is gonna look scary. You just blend it out in a bouncing motion with the Perfector sponge and Stay Spray. Now what I like to do, and I'm gonna show you another brush, just so you can kind of get a little run of the gamut here. Again, you don't need all of these. I'm gonna hop back into my palette and I'm gonna go into our Vanilla Dust setting powder. I like to set where I have the most oil on my skin and where I have the most fine lines. So that can be read as T-zone, under eyes. So I'm gonna come in here with the Power Powder brush, this flat end here, and I am going to pick up a little bit of this Vanilla Dust and press it under my eye. It's not a sweeping motion like you might be used to with powder. It's actually pressing the powder into the skin. And you've already picked up all the excess product with the Beauty Blender or the Perfector sponge. And we are just setting under our eyes with this. All right, now I'm gonna pick up a little bit more and I'm gonna come down my T-zone with it. It just immediately gives this blurred effect. It's so nice. I like to focus it on my forehead wrinkles. All right, so now we have our setting powder. We're ready to go with that aspect now. The next step I'm gonna hop into is our illuminators. We have cream illuminators and we have powder illuminators. I'm going to use a powder illuminator for y'all today. And I'm actually going to come into our B Squared, and I'm gonna use just the end of this blush brush. You don't need a lot of this powder illuminator. Look at how gorgeous that is. So barely touching it, tapping it off. Look at how gorgeous that is. That's Starlet and it is amazing. All right, y'all, this is a completed hack and you can see the difference from whenever we first started to now, how much brighter the center of my face is. My skin tone is evened out. I'm not cakey with a bunch of product, which is what I love about it. That's the really wonderful thing with the 3D foundation, is it's not necessarily a building foundation where you're having to layer and layer and layer and layer. It's actually meant for specific points of your face. So you put your highlight where you want the highlight, you put your contour where you want your contour, your blush on your cheekbones, and then you just blend it out. And so you're not getting a bunch of cakiness and loading a bunch of product on all over your skin. You just have this beautiful skin-like finish at the very end that glows. Now, if you need to set all over your face with powder, you also have that option. You can absolutely come back in. I would suggest going in with the B² brush instead of the Power Powder brush like what I use. I would use the B². I would use the big end. We used the blush end for our illuminator and for our blush. I would use the big end for powder. So if you wanted to come in and set all the way around, I've already set my forehead pretty well. You could come in and you could set with that powder wherever you hadn't already set before. You also have the option of using a bronzer to set around your cheeks so that you don't necessarily lose any sort of warmth from your cheeks. And so if you'd like to do that as well, you can just come into our bronzer and you can set that cream contour with a powder bronzer. That's also going to add a nice bit of warmth to your skin. It's great for summertime. And you still look completely airbrushed. You look flawless, soft. I love this stuff. I can't tell you enough how much I love it. The one brush that I did not use today, here's my little girl. The one brush that I did not use today was our Detail Hack. And this brush is great, yeah, for your, again, okay, for your contour on this side, because it is literally made to go into this contour location right underneath your cheekbone. And this end is great for coming up under your eyes and getting into those little spots that sometimes you can miss. One thing I forgot to mention, hold on just one second, baby, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. One thing that I forgot to mention that I do like to do is I like to set my eyelids with the Vanilla Dust as well. And so I'm actually gonna come back in with the Power Powder brush. And because I had that highlight on my eyes, because that's what I use to prime, I also set my eyelids with our Vanilla Dust setting powder. And then I can go in with our eyeshadows and create beautiful eye looks. So I hope this is helpful for y'all. If y'all have any questions about what I used, how I used it, colors that I used, if you want to get color matched, I do free color matching. All I need is your selfie. You can email it to me, send it to me through Facebook, through Instagram. All I need is your selfie and I can get you color matched and we can build your custom palette. It's so crazy affordable. It's so nice because if you run out of one foundation color, you just replace the one foundation color. You don't have to replace everything. And you have your entire face right here in one compact. Great for traveling, great for if you're on the go, having to do your makeup in car line or anything like that. This makeup is phenomenal. The last thing I'll do as I leave y'all now is I'm gonna come in with the second blush shade that I had in here. We're gonna add it just right here on my lips. Just to get a little bit of a natural pink tone. This is Desert Sunset. It's gorgeous, glossy finish. I love it. Let me know what questions you have. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.